edition of Love What You Do, Do What You Love. We're speaking to people who love what they do, about what they do and their journey. And today I've got Brian Klindworth here in the studio. Now, I met Brian last week, and the reason he's in the studio today is because he had the biggest smile, and I said to him, man, you must love what you do. Now, Brian is a life and career coach. Anything else any other title, any grand titles that you have, Brian, other than I mean, that's pretty good. Life and career coach is...
Dad, I like to
You're a dad?
Yeah. I like to call myself a humble explorer.
Humble explorer, that's beautiful. Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about your journey, mate. I mean, you've come... we had a brief discussion, and you've come from... You said the corporate sector, but now you're doing what you love doing. How did you get here from there? So tell me a little bit more about, let's go back maybe, I don't know, uni or high school, or whatever, wherever you want to start. Like, where was your, like, I suppose when you graduated uni, or what did you do at uni? And tell me a little bit more about that story.
I would say that my career started with moving people. So I once I did school and I did university, I did a Bachelor of Commerce at Deakin Uni. I'm a Melbourne boy. I went on into recruitment, so I was helping people find their next job. What is it that they want to do? And then I moved into global mobility, which was moving people further afield. So the company wanted them to work interstate, or they wanted to move overseas. I was helping them move. And I got to a point where I'm like, I'm actually more interested in developing people. And the reason I got to that was because of my own personal journey, and that's why development became important. So I always felt like a bit of a black sheep in my family. I was considered the golden-haired boy and successful, right? Things just fell in my lap. And,
so I'm guessing high school was a breeze. That was you with the ducks
captain,
of the car.
Yes. The first football
team. Those stories sometimes end up badly, but luckily for you, it's ended up well.
Yeah. That's right. But it has taken a while for it to end up well, right? Yeah. Because I would say that I've been really well rewarded, but also distracted by external influences, because I was wanting to please other people, right? My parents, my teachers, my boss, but feeling like a black sheep. And I was living out almost a 2-year cycle. Did
you feel like there was this separation between you, the person, and what they wanted from you? So did you feel the need that you had to meet their expectations constantly, and that's where you were feeling there was a bit of a hollowness there? Is that what you were experiencing at the time? Or
upon reflection, I'd used similar language. At the time, I had no idea this was going on.
Yeah,
and I was just living the dream, baby. I was kicking goals in the footy team and getting good marks at school, and I earned more money than my parents in my first job, and so I was travelling around the world.
Nice. Yeah, cool.
So life was great.
Yeah.
What really shook it up for me was in my late 20s, I got divorced. Mm-hmm. And that really rocked my world, because it didn't rock my world. Oh, okay, so you didn't see that coming? I did, because
in hindsight, probably now you look back, but did you see, whilst you're in the mix of it, did you see it, was it?
It actually was a protracted end of the relationship, if you like, right? Cool. So there was a 12-month period where it was not going well. At that point in my life, I didn't fail at anything.
Yeah.
And I could fix everything.
Yeah.
I didn't tell my parents that this was happening in my marriage.
Okay.
My parents, grandparents, 30 years, 40 years, 60 years of marriage, right? So
sure.
And I value relationships really, really highly, right? So this was not something I could share, because I was going to fix, and I wasn't going to have that mark on my name.
Yeah.
So, I went to, I was going to fix it. After 12 months, I realised that my wife and I weren't committed to make it work, right? So it was done. But because it had been such a long process, I actually was okay with it. Because it made sense.
Okay, it made sense. Did you, at the time, you were saying you wanted to fix it, this and that, because of your journey, everything was perfect, everything went well, blah, 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 blah. Did you feel at that time you had failed at that particular point? Did you come out of that going, this is like the beginning of something, or how did you...
So feel is the word that I'm going to pick up there.
Yeah.
And this is what rocked my world, right? Yeah. There was this incongruency between, in my life, to that point, this was the biggest failure of my life. Mm-hmm. The most important thing to me is lifelong relationships, and I hold marriage very highly.
Sure.
And I actually was okay. It actually hurt me more that I didn't feel the pain. I felt...
It's crazy,
I thought I should have been
rocking
rocking in the corner, fetal position, end of the world stuff, but I didn't feel any of that. And that's what rocked my world, right? More than the marriage falling apart. And that was the beginning of what's been a 15-year journey about reconnecting with my emotions.
Fantastic.
How could I not feel distraught,
distraught,
sad, completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I didn't feel any of those things.
Yeah.
Because I was really well trained and really embraced living through your head. Is what I call it,
For
right?
sure. Look, I mean, and that's the thing. And so you think that would have been, you know what? That was probably something that was meant to happen to you, to put you in, and that sort of took you on another journey. Yeah, took you on this journey.
Yeah,
So,
very much so.
out of the ashes, what arose out of the ashes?
Yeah. Well, every year since then, and there's been a lot of reading, and there's been a lot of these sort of conversations with a lot of like-minded people, professional or otherwise. And it has been an ongoing journey of actually, I would say, re-establishing my internal navigation system, right? So what's my identity? What are my values? What's my unique gift, and what can I give to the world, if you like? So it is that journey, and it doesn't stop. There's been recent insights, and there continues to be as you learn every day, right? But I feel the most whole or complete, most comfortably the authentic me. In the most holistic way,
That's
head and heart, if you like.
That's fantastic. And so you put that. So as you were starting to grow in your personal development and so on, you decided, okay, you're going from HR, you're going to help people. How did you make that transition? How did you go from that to where you are now, a career coach, life coach, helping people, having clients? What was that journey like? How did you get to here?
There's a couple of stages in it.
Yeah.
I've been curious about running my own business for a long time. So I had my first crack at that as a personal trainer, because health and wellbeing was important, and I actually found personal training as a really safe entry point to take people out of their comfort zone. So in many ways it was exploring this appetite in a safe, familiar way. Thought that would be good beer money, but couldn't see that to support a family, so got back into corporates, right? And then it was about 3 years ago, I'd been made redundant a couple of times in these safe corporate sales jobs, and I'm like, man, I can't just keep doing this.
Isn't it?
What am I missing? What am I supposed to be learning, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not really turning up. Right? I'm taking these jobs and I'm doing the right things, but I'm not really turning up.
You're there for economic issues. You're there for economic reasons, because you've got to pay bills, you've got to do this and this and that. But if you're there in body but not in heart and soul, that's a completely different. And that's So you worked it out, and you're going,
so I've got to do something different, right? So what is it going to be for the next... Man, I'm going to be working for another 30 years. What am I going to love and never lose interest in? And it's people.
That's it, man.
The choices they make, the stories they tell themselves about the reality and what's possible for themselves are incredible. And I've got some great reference points in my circle of how I don't want to live. But equally so, people that inspire you because of the beliefs they have, the choices they make, the stories they tell themselves. And so I did a bit of an investigation. How do you help people? Is it through psychology? Is it through coaching? Is it social work? What are the problems they solve? Who are the people they work with? What's the entry into the industry? What's the, et cetera, et cetera. And for mine, coaching fitted for me.
Awesome.
So I joined up and got some qualifications, and then in the background started doing some coaching while I was still doing the corporate thing.
So you got yourself some clients.
Myself some clients,
Interesting. How did you find these clients, or did they find you? So how do you source? How does one source out?
Yeah, good question. So the organisation I did my qualifications for nurtured a big community. It was part of the reason I chose that.
Okay.
I was trying to find my tribe. These are people that are interested, right?
Yeah.
And I chose a 12-month accreditation, if you like, rather than a weekend to get your life coaching ticket, because it was about giving time and being around like-minded people. And so they knew people, and they knew people, and they knew someone else, and so utilising Facebook and utilising a network. I'm a Melbourne boy, and I've always been in sales, so I've got a fairly broad network. So I started putting the word out, and that led to somebody, and the word of mouth helps.
Beautiful.
And I wouldn't say that I did it to any great extent and volume at that time, because I was still feeling it out.
You're still feeling it out. You're getting what I would call getting your stripes, because you have to. Because I suppose it's something new, and you're obviously, I suppose you're trying to work out, am I any good at this? Because that's another thing. Sure, there's one thing you go, hey man, that's what I want to do, but am I any good? And you're probably, and by the sounds of it, you are making headway. You're good at what you do, and you're happy. And I think it shows, doesn't it? If somebody's happy at what they do, it just
oozes out of them almost.
It does. It does. And I think then And I was speaking to you earlier about attracting those type of people. Those people actually, that's why I asked you, did they source you out? Because sometimes you put yourself out there and then all of a sudden things start to happen. You go, well, okay, this is a bit weird, but I'm going to show you actually put that into motion. And tell me about the organisation. You spoke to me when we spoke. You've got a business or an organisation. What's it called? And
Well, it's called a club, actually.
A club, okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so I call it Up Your Game.
Yeah.
It's about beliefs, connections, and growth. And the idea is that, in my experience, and what I hear from a lot of people, is that when something goes wrong in their life, that inspires some investment in personal development.
Yeah.
But because it's done through pain and shame, and it's a really difficult time for them, it's often done in isolation, right? Because we never tell anyone because we're too embarrassed.
Sure.
Which has an impact on your state of mind, the resources you can access, who you'll reach out to.
Yeah, man.
It's a bloody difficult
It is a difficult
right?
because we're in this thing. Even in this current climate where we talk about mental health, and nobody really wants to say, "Hey, man, I need help."
They don't.
You know why?
That's great.
Because people look at you like you're flawed. There's something wrong with you, and especially if you want to go and get some personal like development and actually work on yourself. They look like you got two heads. Why are you got to work on yourself for? You know, and so that must be another sort of stigma that you
Absolutely,
come
it's a great
across.
challenge. Yeah, very much so. So, trying to turn that on the head and create a different path. Up Your Game is actually an opportunity to do proactive, holistic personal development in a social fun way.
Fantastic.
So instead of coming together to watch the footy or come together to talk about work and these safe topics that sometimes become a bit boring for some, right? They want to talk about something more meaningful and more interesting.
Sure.
So Up Your Game leans on a life coaching model called the Wheel of Life, and that just acknowledges that people are complex individuals, if you like, and there's lots of different areas of your life that if you're actively engaged in, you'll have greater fulfillment or contentment. Whereas if you ignore them, you'll still need to meet those needs, but you tend to do it in an unresourceful way in another area of your life.
Yeah.
So if I talk more specifically, if you don't have any friends, right? Because you've chosen to put your chips in with your boss at work and your family, which a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Friendship often allows you a safe environment to explore.
Sure.
Right? Because your mates accept you for who you are.
Yeah.
You can stuff it up and they've got your back.
Yeah.
So you might have some adventures and do some things there, right? Which meets one of the core needs of uncertainty or adventure, right? But if you don't do that, and your work's pretty routine, and your day-to-day life's pretty routine, because we like routine. Right? You know, it makes it easier, we can get through it, because we're all busy. We're so busy, you know, and we're exhausted. But if your needs for uncertainty aren't met, whether it's through adventure or through friendships or whatever, you'll find adventure.
Yeah.
But it's often unresourceful. So you throw a hand grenade into the relationship at work or at home. You pick a fight.
You pick a fight, or you see the end of a couple of wine bottles at the end of every night, and so on. Yeah.
So you're always going to meet your needs, right? We're just hardwired to do that.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing it in a resourceful, proactive way, consciously, dare I say it,
sure,
you'll find it unconsciously.
Yeah.
So Up Your Game, we're working with local experts. So it's an opportunity to build community with local business, general public, and it's like a sports club, right? I love sport, right?
Yeah,
and
cool.
I've had great.
So using that as a vehicle
clubs
to bring people together instead of it being clinical, sitting around or doing a one-to-one session, you're actually bringing people together through their love of sport, and then you have that dialogue with them, or is it more sort of a casual sort of way, the way you...
My reference to sport is more around infrastructure, right? Because I continue to play sport, I've always played sport, and I just found that there was great feedback, right? There's opportunity to perform, there's opportunity for feedback, there's opportunity to things different, and that's kind of what I'm leaning from. So we'll have a clubhouse, or we have a clubhouse, you come there, like-minded people, and you get an opportunity to participate in dialogue, do some activities, and it's all around shaping that in this part of your life, be it family or intimate relationships or work, whatever. These are different reference points. This is what it could look like, right? Because most of us will have made a choice around what that might look like or what the options are.
Yeah.
But to be in a room with 20 or 30 other people and an expert, right, that'll help demonstrate that there are other ways that this can look. And then we explore your beliefs, introduce some different ones, give you an activity to personalise it,
Fantastic.
Yeah. Then normalise it, because you're going to talk to your clubhouse,
Yeah.
your club mates, and you'll find, you know, one or two others have the same view, or maybe an aspirational view you think's really cool.
Cool.
And how if they can do it, maybe I can do it.
Hey, so tell me, how does one, like, do you have a website? How do people get in contact with you if they needed to
If you jump onto Facebook and do a search for Humble Explorers,
Humble Explorers?
you'll see this ugly mug pop up.
And you're also on LinkedIn, so if anybody wants
I'm
to
on
hit
LinkedIn.
you up on LinkedIn.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. I want to say thank you so much, Brian. It was a pleasure meeting you. I only met this gentleman last week, and I knew that he'd had an interesting story to tell. And look, I want to say thanks and good luck with
pleasure.
everything.
Thank you
and
very
I'm
much.
sure you're going to make a difference. Thanks,
you.
buddy.